Hi, this is lesson number 13. Please get the data files folder first, EWT-13. After you unzip it, you will get app. This one's a template project. Open this one in VS Code. Then you have a sample folder that contain of images, photo that we can use it later for testing purpose. Then you also got a link to the references of view router, and also Firestore. I talked about this one before, so I'm going to skip this one. So let's go into the project directly. Right click, select open with code. Okay, open with code. I got it open already. This is the project structure, so ensure that you're opening the right folder app, and right now I'm viewing node.txt. Okay, let me go through about the project. I named the project as Fire Student. Okay, basically we are creating a very simple web app which allowed the user to perform CIUD operation on student record which we store inside the Firestore database. So basically this one is a revision exercise that combine the thing that we learned in the past. Okay, view router, and so Firestore all together. But not to worry, okay, because for parts that you did before, I will actually provide the code for you already. We just focus on new parts. So we can talk about how to do data restoration. We did before also, right? So we can talk about CIUD. Okay, write code to create, retrieve, update, and also delete record from the Firestore database. Okay, then we incorporate searching and sorting. Okay, this one we did before also. Okay, but this time we're going to integrate it. Basically, it's the same things. Okay, it's the same thing. We are doing searching and sorting by using view. Okay, we are not doing searching and sorting at the Firebase side, so we are doing it at the client side. Then we talk more about custom HTML5 validation. Okay, the structure of the project, we got a root in text.html, followed by home, insert, update. Each of them is can be pointed by different URL given over here, very similar to the previous lesson. Okay, but this time there's something extra. We want to talk about uploading an image. For each student record, we want to connect them with one pictures, a profile photo. Okay, we're going to perform crop and resizing by using the JavaScript library that we used before and see how we can integrate it there. Definitely we can upload the photo as base64 URL string. That means we make the field that store the photo as a string field. But take note that base64 data URL string is going to be 33% larger than the original size. But this approach is actually making our code very simple. It's very simple to program, okay, because we know you do extra conversion. And base64 data URL string is directly usable in image source. Okay, what do we do? We just put a string here, we do. Then the image will be looted. Okay, this is the approach we're going to use later in our project to do profile photo uploading. There are also other approaches we can use to store a photo in Firestore or Firebase. Okay, the first alternative approach is by making use of the Firestore group data type. Okay, there's a data type called group. Okay, stand for binary large object. When we create a field, Firestore field, we can mark the field as group data type. Then we can use it to store binary data. So it can be any binary data. Okay, file is one of it, photo is one of it, but can be others also. As long as the data is kept as binary format, then we can make use of this group data type. Okay, there are methods provided to do internal conversion. For example, to convert the field value become base64 string, okay, and also to convert the field value become unsigned integer 8-bit array. Okay, let me talk about this one, base64 string. Base64 string and base64 data URL string are different. Okay, the data portion are the same, but for base64 data URL string, there are some additional information provided in front of the string, which allows it to be looted, okay, in image source directly. Mean to say we can use a base64 data URL string as URL, just like it's an URL, but base64 string is different. They do not have that information. So that's why base64 string, we cannot use it directly as image source. So we, the programmer, have to do something extra, okay, to convert it, okay, just in case. But here we are not going to talk about details in photos because I'm going to make use of this approach rather than making use of this approach. Okay, so whereas for this one, okay, so they also provide static method allow us to convert from base64 string or even unsigned integer 8-bit array back to group. Okay, this is workable. Okay, this approach is workable. Okay, we can store binary data, but it's troublesome. The reason because we always have to do conversion. So for example, if let's say I want to save a photo, okay, as a group field in Firestore, I will have to take the photo, okay, convert the photo, become a HTML group. Okay, HTML group and Firestore group are different. They are not compatible. We have to do conversion. So I have to convert HTML group, okay, photo to HTML group. then make it become an unsigned 8-bit array. Then I convert it to Firestore group. Then only I can store it inside Firestore field successfully. So when I want to do reading, I want to read the binary data so that I can display as an image. I have to do the conversion again. Okay, I read the data from Firestore as Firestore group. Then I have to convert it become unsigned integer 8-bit array. After that, I make it become HTML group. Then finally, I have to create an object URL that points to that group object. Then only I can use it and display it as an image source. So that's why this approach is workable but troublesome. For that reason, I'm not going to make use of this. I'm going to make use of this lah. So by using storing the photo as base64 data URL. Okay, even though the size is 33% larger, but if let's say we do some cropping and resizing, then we can keep the photo file size still very small. So another alternative approach is actually by storing the file using a dedicated service for it. So Firebase provide a service called cloud storage. Okay, this one is actually dedicated to store files only. Okay, we can touch about this topic in the next lesson. Okay, but for this lesson, we are not going to make use of it. So our approach again is actually uploading the pictures as a base64 data URL string. Okay, the reason because it's very easy to be implemented. So let's proceed to our project. Okay, right now let's run our project in live server by clicking on the Go Live button at the bottom right corner. Okay, click on that. The live server will be launching. So now it's actually the project. So we have the home page. Right now got no data. Later we'll do restoration, import the data into our Firebase database. Then we read it. We got insert. Okay, to insert a new student record. Okay, for now there's no link allow us to go to the update page, but we can type it manually in the URL bar. Just type update/x. This will bring us to the page. Okay, but there's no data lah. Okay, so we got home, we got insert, we got update. 3 sub pages only. Okay, right now let me go back to VS Code. We can start to do program. Okay, by the way, I just want to highlight that if let's say we want to make use of this, right click, open with live server, ensure that we are opening the right files. Only index.html can be executed in our web browser because this one is a complete page. But if let's say I try to open home underscore home.html, if let's say I right click, open this file in live server, okay, you look at the URL one, it's actually opening underscore home. So take note that this one is a component page. A component page does not really being being interpreted, okay, to become an app. So yes, the web browser still see the content. Okay, we got template on top, we got a script at the bottom, but to web browser there's no visible item. Okay, the script is actually pointless also in this case. That's why we see nothing here. Okay, so remember, if let's say we want to view our app, we have to start from our root lah. So we can delete the sub pages behind, start from a domain will do. This one will load HTML index or HTML files. So our starting point will be always in index.html file or just the domain. So right now let's go back to our index.html files. Okay, this one home, I close it. Okay, go back to index.html file. Okay, there are some settings we have to do over here. So I already marked this section with a to-do. So for those things which are already we did before, I already provide them. So we don't need to start everything from scratch. Okay, drag down to script section. Okay, step 1. Okay, we have to set up our Firebase. So let's provide your own project ID. Okay, student, provide your own project ID so that you can actually test and see your data. So let's start with it. I'm going to make use of my own Firebase project ID. Okay, my one is Liao-2022. Okay, where to find a project ID? Okay, revision again. So if let's say you go inside your Firebase console, okay, under the project overview, you go to project setting. So here we'll see our project ID already. This one is the project ID. Then we have to ensure that it's actually correct. So I open up my Firestore again. So go back to VS Code. So provide a project ID. Okay, after that, provide a reference that points to the student's collection, because this time we're going to program with a new collection ready. So I can type firebase.firestore, okay, which is a function, then collection, which is also a function. The collection we want to working with is called students. Okay, now we have to do 1 and to do 2 ready. Okay, the rest, the router, okay, different location. Just like our previous example, same. So in the root component, we only have the student array. So later when we want to refer to data, we refer back to the root student properties. Then the created function, I complete it ready because the code is actually identical. So I already provide the code to add, modify, to handle the remove event, the change event from Firestore, and we are going to manipulate the student array accordingly lah. Then nothing else. Okay, the vFocus provided already, router is used, and is mount. Okay, basically in text. That's it. Okay, if I say I close it right now, I go back to my VS web browser. Actually, there's still no data because my Firestore got no data. Okay, we do it step by step, man. Okay, now we're going to go into this underscore home. Okay, we want to actually make the table header become capitalized first before we display all the data. You can notice that I'm using lowercase here. So let us go to this underscore home. Okay, let's say we try to locate the table headers, which is here, line 42. Okay, we have V4 for it. Okay, we try to loop to the fields array, which contain the fields name, and the field name is actually being displayed. So there's no capitalized function being called. So the original string is actually being displayed over here. Let's look at the fields array under the data section. So ID, name, gender, group, all started with lowercase letter. So this time we're going to capitalize the letter, but not using any function. We're going to make use of CSS to achieve it. So let's go to CSS file, app.css. So drag down to the right bottom. So at the right bottom, I have the custom section. Okay, around line 195. Okay, there's a custom section for the table headers. Okay, user selects none. Okay, this one I did before. Okay, pointer so that the user cannot select the text, and also the cursor is actually a pointers. So right now we want to convert the text to visually become a capitalized string. So what to do? By using a CSS properties called text transform. Settle already. Okay, text transform. Capitalize. Okay, settle. That's it. Okay, very easy. The original string is not being changed, but when it's actually being displayed on the screen, it will become capitalized. But the string is still lowercase. So this one is to do 3. Okay, to do 3, we settle already. Okay, let me close this one temporarily. Okay, go back to the page. We want to settle to do number 4. Okay, on which we are going to program drag down further. Okay, the result, the sorting, logic out, all provided already. So let's go down. So sort, CSS, all these I copy. Reset button done already. Okay, to do 4, we want to talk about how to remove one record. Okay, and also remove all record. Finally, we do restoration. Okay, this one is actually referring to this button. Remove all button. Later, we got remove button for the table and also restore button. So it's something that we did before. That's why we program all this all together. So let's start to do the coding. Remove one record based on the student ID. Okay, it's not difficult. Student collection, students collection, then dot passing the ID, then let us call the delete method. Okay, job done. So whereas for remove all, we can root to the original array. Okay, the data array in the root. So which is student, the local array. Let's call for each. Okay, get the student object. So whereas for the code inside, we can actually call the function. Okay, for example, we can just call this dot remove passing student ID. Then the function will be reused already. Okay, but I think I'm going to write the full code rather than calling function over here. So I can just copy this line. Okay, come to here. Okay, paste it here. This time the ID is going to be s.id. Okay, we cannot test yet. Okay, let's proceed. So for restoration, here I mentioned that we can actually remove all record first, then only we do import. But whether you want to remove all the existing record or not is optional. So for my case, I will just do the same. I will just copy this one, remove all record first, so that the old record, including the newly generated one, will be removed. Then I can restore it back to the record that I want inside the data.json file. Okay, let me open up this data.json file. Okay, this is an array of a student object. Okay, I got ID, name, gender, group, okay, and also photo. Okay, right now the photo is actually a photo URL that points to a local photo, which is this one. At start, I can make use of a local photo. So that means that this one is just a URL only. But later, we will store the actual photo, the new photo, into this field as a data URL string. But that one is to be done later. Right now, we just take the local photo first. So let me close this one. Okay, come back to this code over here. We're going to call a fetch. So fetch to the files, then we call then the response object, convert the response to become a JSON contain. Okay, if I say success, I will get my JSON data value, which is going to be an array in this case, because my data field is an array. Okay, open and close that. So here I can do create a loops. Okay, to go through all the record that I read from my files and insert them into Firestore. Okay, I'm going to use a for loop directly. Okay, here, okay, I'm going to for each of the record that I loop to. Okay, I'm going to break them into two variable or two constant. The first one is ID. The second one is going to be called data, represent the rest of it. Okay, for examples, okay, let's say look at my data again. ID will be stored inside the ID constant. Okay, whereas for name, gender, group, and photo, okay, they will be kept inside the data object, the data hash. So I'm actually doing an object spread over here. So now I got the ID and data already. Okay, let me do insertion. Okay, dot ID, call the set method data. Okay, job done. So right now we can test our remove individual, remove all, and also restore. Okay, back to my project. Okay, let's hit the restore button. So it's working already. So let us remove individual. Okay, it's working. And how about remove all? Okay, all gone. So success. So restore again. The searching and sorting is actually completed already. It's very similar to how we did last time. That's why I didn't ask you to code it again. For example, I want to filter or search by AN. Name contain AN will be returned. Okay, this time we also add in the second condition. Okay, different different groups. Group 1, Group 2, okay, Group 3, Group 4. Okay, we are using an AND operator over here. So both conditions must be fulfilled in order to be returned. Then we got a count at the bottom here. So the result count. Okay, the total count 20, and also the number of female. Okay, in the result, the number of male in the result is not being returned yet. So our next step is to program these two. So result button is going to clear the search field. So let's go back to our code. Okay, now we focus back to this underscore home, but line 32, around line 32, we got the result count, we got the total count. Okay, now we want to provide the female and male count based on the result. Okay, because we do filtering, man. So let's see how we can do that. So we pick up the result, okay, which represent the result after we done sorting. Okay, searching and sorting. So from here, okay, we do further filtering. Okay, I want to filter, okay, on which the student dot gender equivalent to female. Okay, then I want to get the length. Now we got the length for the number of female students already based on the result, definitely. So let's copy and paste. The second one is going to be the number of male students. So let's look at the result right now. So I got 8, 12. Okay, this one is without any searching, any filtering. So let me do a filtering. So out of this 4 record, 1 is female. Okay, 3 are male. So reset it, settle. Okay, now we want to implement the features that allow us to select a server record. Okay, then we can click on the remove check button to delete those records which are being selected. We also want to implement the check all function and also uncheck all function so that all record will be selected or unselected. So right now this one definitely is not working. So we want to look at how can we implement it. So firstly, we need to find out the method we can remember, okay, at least the ID of the selected record. Okay, how can we do that? So let's back to the code. So this is where we done the to-do 7 right now. Right now we go to to-do 8, right? Okay, let's say go down here. Okay, for the table, along line 50, you have this to-do 8. So there's a checkbox provided, but this checkbox does not link to any data field. Okay, let me show you the data field first. So I drag down to the view section, view data section. Okay, I do provide an array. I call it checked. It's an array, empty array right now. So every time whenever a checkbox is being selected, I want to store its value, okay, inside the inside this array automatically. If it's a checkbox checked, value will be added. If it's being removed, okay, I want the value to be taken away as well. Okay, so we're going to link this array, this string array, to our checkbox, which is located over here to do it. Okay, let's continue. Okay, for this type check, okay, I will assign it to v model, v-model. Okay, then this one is going to be linked to our checked array. But not only that, we also have to specify what value we want to store inside this checked array whenever this checkbox is being checked or unchecked. So in this case, we're going to do a binding. Okay, be careful about the colon in front. We are doing a binding. We're going to provide expression inside the string over here. So we want to store the student ID. Okay, inside the checked array, if let's say this checkbox is being checked. Okay, but in order for us to see the result, we have to complete to do 9 also. Otherwise, we cannot see a result. So let's go up. Okay, go up a bit around line 20. You will start to see you have to do 9 already. So here, checked it. I want to list out the content of the array. So right now, I only show NA, not applicable. So I want to show the content of my checked array, which is student ID. So I just I can actually I change this one a bit. So I'm going to take my checked array. I call the join method. I want to join each student ID by using a comma. Okay, let's say give a space behind. Okay, if let's say the left hand side is empty string, that means there's no record being selected, then I will display not applicable or not available. Okay, this one is to show the checked ID. Okay, let's look at the content right now before we talk about others. So come to here. Okay, if let's say I take the first one, you can notice that the checked array changed already. Second one, okay, third one. Okay, for now you have to click on the check boxes. Later you're going to make the row checkable. Right now cannot. So let's say I choose file record. You can see the item is being added automatically. If I say I remove it, remove one of it, you can see that it's actually become disappear. So all these actually maintained automatically by view. Okay, so the item will be added and removed from checked array. Depends on the status of a checkbox. Okay, this part is done already, so we got it there already. So how about if I say none of them is being selected? Do I get an A? Yes, NA. If I say none of the item is being selected. So right now, let's talk about this to do 10. Okay, we want to have the length, okay, of the selected ID to be displayed inside here instead of 0. So let's go back to here. So to do 10, okay, firstly, I want to display length. Okay, let's try it out. It's not difficult. Checked.length. So the number will be shown already. And also I want to disable the button if let's say nothing is being selected. Yeah, we cannot delete if let's say there's no record being selected, man. So let's do a binding colon. We're going to bind it to the disabled properties. Okay, so our logic will be this. Okay, if we are going, you have to think about disabled. Okay, there's nothing called enabled. We will disable the button if let's say there's the length. There's no length inside our array. So I can actually make it very short. So no length, okay, inside my checked array. If I say there's nothing inside the array, no length, okay, then I can make it disabled. Okay, definitely you want to go to others also can. You say I will disable if I say the length is less than equal to 0. Like this also can, okay, equal to 0 also can, but I'll just make it very short. Okay, if I say the array got no length, that means no item, I will disable it. So right now let's look at the result. Okay, by default, the button is being disabled already. I select one item. Okay, right now become enable again. Okay, if I say I remove it, okay, disable again. And also the count will be actually updated automatically as well. Right now, I checked 3 items. When I click on this item, 3 items will be removed. Okay, so this one is working. If I select a row right now, you can notice that it's not very obvious. So because the row is not being highlighted, okay, we want to make it possible to highlight the entire row. If let's say the row contain a checked checkbox, okay, that's one thing that we want to do. We can do it by using CSS only. Okay, after that, we also want to make the row clickable. So if let's say I click on the row, I want to uncheck it. I click again, I want to check it. Right now, this one is not possible. So if let's say you want to select or unselect an item, we have to click on the small little checkbox ourselves, which can be very troublesome and also not very user-friendly. So let's do this improvement. Okay, talk about the row highlighting first. Okay, this one is not difficult. If let's say we're using the new CSS features, so let us go to VS Code, open the app.css file again. Okay, around line 200. Okay, so we have to do 11. Okay, we have a new selector that allows us to select a parent based on whether it has a certain children or not. So let me write the selector first. So I'm going to provide a class. Okay, the class of my table is actually called .table. So I want to select the TR. I want to select the TR, okay, on which this TR has a children. Okay, my children, I want to indicate the TR has a checked checkboxes. There's a selector for it also, it's called checked. Okay, this one is actually a new CSS properties. Okay, it's actually released just a few months ago. Okay, it's actually has so then there's target to the TD because my background is set on the TD. So let's say we're going to give it a different background color. If let's say the TR is having a checked checkbox, the TD inside the TR is going to have a different background color. Okay, let's say I'm going to make use of light green color. Okay, any color will do. Okay, so let's look at the result. So after I add this line, so go back to my code. Okay, I tick on the checkbox. Okay, you can notice that you're having the highlighting. Okay, it's actually providing. Okay, but take note, the hash selector is only working in new browsers, MDN. So let me look for it. Okay, this one hash selector, right? Okay, let me go down. Okay, right now the version of the Chrome is 108. So the hash selector is only working in Chrome Edge 105 and above. Okay, the current version for Chrome and Edge is 108. So should be workable but it's not yet supported by Firefox. Okay, the rest of browser is okay already. Just take note of it. Okay, in the futures I believe Firefox is going to support it. So which is a very convenient method if let's say you want to select a parent based on the children that it has, which is very useful. Okay, right now let's proceed. We want to talk about making the entire row clickable. Okay, I click on the row, then I can check on the checkbox. Okay, let's go back to the code. I close my CSS. Go back to the home. Okay, if I say try to drag down, look at my table, the table. Okay, the TR, I already attach it to a method called toggle. Okay, when this toggle is being called, the student ID is actually being passed along. Okay, based on the student ID, I want to know whether should I add the student ID inside my check array or remove it. Because if I say it's already selected, we want to unselect it. If I say unselected, then we want to select it. So that means we want to add or remove item from our checked array. So let's go down. Okay, we locate for the method. The method is actually in line here, line 148, around there. So to do 12, so based on this, this is a student ID. Based on this one, we're going to add item and also or remove item from the array. So what can we do? Okay, we can do a testing first. Okay, this dot check array. Okay, is it the check array already has the ID? Includes, okay, the ID. Okay, we put a question mark here. So I'm actually doing an if-else statement, but using conditional or operator here. Okay, if let's say it's already in the array, okay, I would like to remove it. Okay, how we remove? We can make use of filter. This dot checked the array equal to this dot checked the same array. Okay, but I apply the filter function. Okay, I'm going to filter the record. Okay, here I have to use a different variable already. I use O represent object line. Okay, I'm going to filter the record. If I say the string, okay, is actually not equal to the ID. Okay, for all the value, if I say the object value is not equal to the ID, they'll be returned. Now I have a new array except the one that contains the ID. Okay, otherwise I need to add it in. Adding is very simple. This dot checked, okay, dot push. We're going to add in the ID already. So done. This one is actually toggle. Okay, so we can actually do a testing right now, see whether we got effect or not. Come back to the screen here. So click on the row. Okay, we can notice that clicking on the row, we can actually select the item. We can click again to actually uncheck it. So now the row becomes clickable already. Okay, let's continue by programming check all and uncheck all. So we just directly after the function only. So toggle is here. So let's do check all. Okay, check all is we want to check all the record, or we just provide all the student ID, store them inside a checked array will do. So this is how the things work. Okay, this dot checked equal to this dot root dot students array. Okay, I would like to return only the ID. So we use map to actually transform our result. For each student record, I just want to return the ID. So this is going to have check all. So let's continue with 14. To uncheck all, very simple. This dot check equal to empty array setter ready. Okay, but definitely there are other problems we're going to solve later as well. Let's come back and do the testing. So individual checking working, check all working, okay, uncheck all working. Okay, now we are going to solve two problems. So the first problem is regarding the event bubbling behavior. So we know that the update button got a click event, right? So if I say I click on the update button, the click event of the button will be triggered. Not only that, the click event will also be bubbled up to the parent because our TR also got the click event to toggle the selection. So that means that I click on the button, not only button will run, okay, the TR or click event will also run. So I can demonstrate it here very briefly. So let me refresh my page. If I say you see right now I click on the update button, the row will be selected very briefly. Okay, become green color. Okay, let's look at it. I click on it, so it's turned into green, right? Because the row is actually being selected also, even though I didn't click on the row. I click on the button means I also clicking on the parent. So to make it more obvious, I can go back to my code. Okay, around the table area, line 39. Okay, at the bottom here, 57, you have this to do 15. Okay, right now when I click on it, it's going to do navigation to update screen, right? So let me cut this off. Okay, so that the click is doing nothing. Okay, like this is going to become more obvious. I go back to my code, I click on the update button. You can notice that I click on the button. Okay, not only the button click event will run, the click event will also be bubbled up to the parent. Okay, this behavior, okay, may not be what we want, so we want to stop it. We want to stop the bubbling effect. So very easy. Okay, all we have to do, we just add the stop modifier in front will do. Okay, this means we want to stop the propagation, or we want to stop the event from being bubbled up to the parent. So we do it for the remove as well. Okay, let's look at the result right now. I click on the button, nothing will happen because the click event will only contain within the button. It's not going to be bubbled up to the parent. So I'm going to complete my code just now. So I can paste it again so that the the routing. Okay, still working at. So let me try again. So I'm going to reload it. I click on update. The line will not be selected. Click. Okay, it's not turned to green. I can go to update screen without any problem. So take note that stop, okay, to stop event bubbling process. Okay, this is one problem. The second problem, if I'm back to the screen, I try to select, let's say, trade record. Okay, then I remove the first record, delete it. Okay, you can notice that my selection, my checked array, still holding the old record. The reason because it's not going to be updated automatically. So even though we know that the record S01 has been deleted, but the check array is not updated automatically. I still got the ID being selected here, and also the count is still 3. So again, when we can remove the item ourselves because we are using snapshot listener, the item may be removed by somebody else to the Firestore database. So right now we want to find a right spot allow us to actually update our check array. The idea is very simple. Whenever the student record is being changed, we will review our checked array whether it's correct or not. If I say any item has been removed already, we just take it away. So the right spot to actually write the code is actually inside the watcher, the watch section of our view component. We did it before also. Okay, what we want to watch for? We want to watch for the student array, the entire student array. And so here you're going to write something different a bit. Okay, so we're going to start with a string because you have a dot notation in the middle. Okay, we are going to watch the root dot students array. Roots.student array. Okay, what we want to handle up, okay, we provide it. So firstly, we want to detect individual item being removed. So it's going to be a deep watch. So we set it to true. Then the handler we want to run, the function we want to run is like this. Okay, by checking the array, is it our checking the array and also compare it again our check array lah. Is it all the ID inside the checked array is still a variable or not? If it's not a variable, then we remove it. Okay, let's write the logic. And this dot checked equal to this dot checked. We are doing a filtering over here, but the condition will be complex a bit. So for each of the ID that we have inside the checked array, so what we want to do, we want to see, do we have any student record? Any student record inside the origin student array is actually pointing to this ID, having the same ID. So let us try this out. Okay, this dot root. Okay, this is the $sign root. Forget the $sign already. Student. Okay, any record we can test it by using a function called sum. Okay, do I have some record inside the student array that have the same ID? If I say yes, I return it. Okay, filter. If I say yes, I return it. If I say no, I ignore it. In that case, we're going to remove all those unavailable ID already. So the condition here will be s. Okay, s.id equivalent to ID. Do I have any student record that having the same ID? If I say yes, that particular ID will be returned. Okay, we are doing a filtering over here. Okay, right now let's try, go back to here. Okay, we listen for the whole change. So I can do a restoration. Okay, I get back my record 1 already. I select 3 of them. Okay, I remove the first one. Bing. Okay, you can notice that my S001 is actually being removed already. Okay, it's take away already. So let me try to remove this one. It's take away this one, take away. So it's okay. Okay, let me do back restoration. Okay, let me back to the code. Okay, this one I need to use a string, okay, to actually indicate the properties that I want to listen or watch for changes. Okay, the reason because I have a dot notation in the middle. Okay, because if I say I just leave it like this, it's going to be invalid syntax. So if I say there's a dot in the middle, okay, it's a nested properties. We want to listen for changes, observe for changes, then we have to make it become a string. Definitely, if I say it's only an individual variable, then we can leave it like this. This one no problem. But our case will be special a bit. Is the student array inside the root component. That's why I have to write like this. Okay, right now, the last part, we want to remove all checked. So let's drag down to the bottom. There's a function. Okay, over here, to do 17, we want to remove all the checked. Okay, this one is not difficult. Just do a loop. We'll settle already. Okay, let's do it. This dot checked. Okay, for each, we got the ID, right? So student collection dot doc. Okay, ID, call the delete method. Okay, well, so all the items deleted. Okay, we can clear the checked array ourselves. Okay, even though we don't clear it, it's fine. We can clear the checked array ourselves manually over here. Even we don't clear, it's fine because our watch, okay, will settle this for us. This one will actually remove it. So I will just do it lah. Okay, I will still doing it here. Okay, for completeness purpose. Okay, let's try it. Okay, I'm going to select 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Let's say. Okay, I'm going to remove checked, 5 of it. Okay, gone already. So let me check all. Okay, remove checked. So I got no record. So let me restore it. Okay, let us move to insert right now. So we would like to insert a new record. Let's go to the code. So VS Code open up underscore insert page. I do provide some validation already. For example, this ID field vFocus provides it. It's going to be referenced as input. Later we can use it to do focus. Required max length button, title, input. Okay, this validate ID not yet been completed. We're going to do a revision here and write it again to ensure the ID is not duplicated. Then we got to change, okay, to make it become capital letters. So for name, it's very simple. Required, the max length is only 50. Okay, go down further. Okay, for gender, if let's say you want to ensure the gender is actually grouped together, we have to provide the name. Okay, this name allow only the action is the option is actually mutually exclusive. I choose one, another will be unselected, and so on. So this one is actually controlled by the name, name properties. So, and if let's say you want to make it required, we have to do this required. So here, how we link to the checkboxes lah. We model trim gender. So whereas for the next one, it's going to be a selection list. So we model number because in the database I only want to store the number, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why I mark it as a numeric field, but it's required. Okay, the user cannot select the first one because the first one got no value. So 19, we do it later. We're going to provide the file input control. So go down further, we got this 18. We can settle this one first. Okay, we want to program the validate function. Similar to previous lesson, we're going to reject duplicated ID. So let's start by creating a reference to the element itself, e.target. Okay, so after that, the E is actually coming from a function itself. So by default, it's going to provide to us. So after that, I'm going to get the ID value. I take E.value because in my Firestore database, all is in capital letters. So I convert it to capital letters, easiest for comparison later. So we continue by setting the custom validity. Custom validity, okay, by default, no error. Remove any previous error. Okay, we will do error checking only if the input is already valid. So we got required, we got max length, all this valid already. Then only I will do further checking for duplicate ID. So here I say that if let's say validity.valid, if let's say all the other validation pass already, now is the time for me to do validation. So const, I try to locate for a student record with the same ID. See whether I can find it or not. This.root. Okay, root.student array. Okay, I want to find a student on which the student ID is matching the ID. Okay, because this one is already capital letter, so this one also convert to capital letter already. So either I will get it, okay, or I get a now. So if let's say I get a record, okay, too bad, I get a record. That means somebody used the ID already. Okay, I will just say custom validity duplicated ID. Okay, so let me make the adjustment here. Okay, so write simple message duplicated ID. Okay, good enough. Okay, right now we can do a testing. So if I say back to my app, so look at my record. My ID right now is S001 until S020. Okay, so let's try to do insert. So I press enter. Okay, fill up this field as, okay, it will tell me format is not correct. 001, it will tell me it's duplicate. So not only this one, 20 will be also duplicate. Okay, except I do something else. For example, S999. This one is not duplicated. I can go to next field already. Okay, definitely. So we have to do further. For example, the photo field shouldn't be it shouldn't be a input box, right? It's supposed to be a photo selection box. So that's why I can update the UI a bit. So it cannot be an input box. It have to be converted to become a photo select box. So let me go back up. Okay, to do 19. So again, to change the photo input field become a file input field. Okay, let's try it out. ID is not a must, but we can give it an ID. So the type is actually file. Okay, I give it an ID. I call it file. So ID is actually for me to link, to label. I'm going to show you later. Okay, after that, we cannot use vModel. Okay, for photo file input, the reason because it's not supported. So we have to handle the event ourselves. So the event that we want to handle is called change event. So here I will say that the event is actually called change. So after that, we're going to say, for example, I want to give you a reference. Okay, so that later I can reset the input. So I can provide a reference as well. Okay, not only that, I also want to make the field required. So I can say that reference and required. So this is going to give me the file input control. So here I got a file input control, choose one file. So take note that vModel is not working for input type equal to file. Okay, to handle it, we have to handle the change event ourselves. Okay, I'm going to change the sequence a bit. So I put the change event here first. Okay, ID, I put it here. Reference, I put it here. Require, I put it here. Okay, ID is for me to link to the label later. Okay, whereas the reference is actually for me to modify the value later inside the code, okay, requires to ensure that a field must be selected. So if I say I look at it right now, I don't choose anything, I click insert, I have a few other places. Okay, select a gender. Okay, let me select a program also. Okay, select. You can notice that it will tell me to select a files. Okay, this is the default behavior. A file must be selected. Okay, so I also want to provide a preview. So we want to ensure that the user can see the photo, okay, the preview photo. So that's why it's file input and photo preview. So for this one, I can give a break because for my form CSS, I need to have two elements in one row. Okay, now I can create a label. Okay, this label, I will make it for the ID of my file input. So later when I click on this label, okay, the file input will be triggered. So I will demonstrate it to you later. So here I'm going to create an image. Okay, for this image, by default, I point it to photo.png first. So later I'm going to make changes to it. So right now, I'm going to give it a class because I got some CSS being written already. Okay, I give it a class, I call it photo. The class is called photo. So it's going to have a border. The size will be set to 1500. Okay, 150 multiply 150. So let us look at the result right now. Okay, so the purpose of having the ID is because I want to link this for to this one. So when I click on my label, okay, the file selector will also be selected, which is good enough lah. But right now there's no image photo preview yet. So if I select a file, okay, IU1 for examples, so the file is being selected, but there's no preview. Okay, we want to provide a photo preview for the user. So there's something we have to modify. Okay, back to the code. So the first thing to do, okay, if I say you try to look at the data section, I do have properties called photo. This is going to point to the photo data URL. So if let's say the photo is empty, okay, we will display the default image photo PNG. But if I say it's not empty, it's contain the data URL, we're going to show the selected photo. So that's why we're going to modify our source attribute over here. In front, you provide colon to indicate we want to do binding for this image field. Okay, for this source field, so what we do, okay, here we're going to say that, well, for this one, it's going to be this photo, the photo, okay, which is referring to this particular data attributes. But if I say the value of photo is empty, okay, which is empty, I can show image photo PNG, but you have to cover it up become inside a single quote. So the reason because once you do binding already, okay, what you supply here must be a valid JavaScript expression. So inside here is actually JavaScript code right now. So let's go back to the page, see whether it's still workable or not. Yes, it's still workable, but definitely we not yet write the logic to display the preview. So again, to do it right now. So we are going to handle the change event. Okay, the change event is important. This is the one that we do validation. Not only that, we also want to provide the preview. Very simple. We just assign the new data URL to the photo attributes. So let's jump to the change event. It's actually located at the bottom here, change event. We have to do something additional also, not only to select the photo provide preview. We also want to do resize and cropping by using the primary that we used previously. Okay, firstly, we create a reference. I call it EL element. Okay, point to the target element. The target referring to the file input control. So after that, I want to get a reference to the selected file, the element dot files. Here's the file input. Dot files index 0. Only one file can be selected, so index 0 pointing to the first file. Then I'm going to start by removing all the custom error because before we do checking, I will reset it back to default first. Then I start to do checking already. Okay, it's possible that no file is selected. So if I say no file selected, okay, there's no point to continue. Return immediately. Okay, not only that, I will set the photo back to empty string because right now at this moment no file selected, so there shouldn't be any preview. Okay, so then if I say you're able to hit up to this line, that means that yes, a file is being selected, but we're not sure whether it's photo or not. But we can try to do resizing. Okay, if I say resizing field, that means it's not a photo. So let us start by calling the crop function. It's coming from the app.js file. Okay, the one that we used before for the chat RT and row RT. Okay, so we're going to crop the file input. This time we're going to make it 150 width, 150 height. The result we want to get is data URL, and we're going to use the smallest possible format, image/webp. Okay, as we discussed last time, webp gives us the smallest file size. Okay, if I say success, okay, I will be able to obtain the data URL object. Then I assign it to my photo. okay, then I will get the preview being shown already. Okay, if let's say there's an error, for example, the file selected cannot be cropped. In that case, for example, the user select a non-image file, definitely it cannot be resized lah. Then we're going to have the errors. So I'm going to cache the error. So I do a cache over here. This is going to give us the error object. But we no need to handle the error object. We just do some of the job. Okay, over here, okay, we have to remove the preview photo because it's not an image file, cannot be converted, so we display nothing. And not only that, we're going to set our custom validity, our custom error. We're going to say that invalid photo. Okay, comma. Okay, job done. So let's test it out and see whether it's working or not. So back to the page. So I select, okay, let me fill up other field because my form is not going to be submitted. So X000, okay, X. So I'm going to provide this one, provide this one. Okay, right now I click insert. You will tell me that please select a file. So I choose a file. Okay, I choose IU1. Okay, I hit insert. Okay, as long as there's no error, that means validation passed already. Okay, let's say I click on it. Okay, I click cancel. Okay, the preview is being removed and no file being selected. I click right now, it will tell me that please select a file. So this time I'm going to choose the correct one. Yes, it's still working. So right now I change a different one. I change to a text file. Okay, 00.txt. Okay, it's actually selected on top, but there's no preview shown. The reason because the conversion failed already. I hit insert, it will tell me invalid photo. So this one is an invalid photo. So then I cannot do submission. So except I choose a proper file and then I will get rid of all the validation errors. Then I can continue to insert the record. Okay, let's go back to Visual Studio Code. So go down, we settle the reset function, then the submit function. So reset, again, to reset all the data. So we have altogether ID, name, gender, group, photo, all these have to be reset. So we can do it one by one. So this dot ID equal to empty. Okay, this dot name equal to empty. Same thing. Okay, I can assign it in separate line. We can also do it in one line. Okay, assign okay, genders equal to empty string. Okay, this dot group. Okay, even though it's number, I still assign it to empty string. Okay, this dot photo, I also assign it to empty string. Okay, not only that, I also need to reset my file input because by making all this become empty, okay, my file is still selected. Give you examples. I select this one. I click reset. The file is still selected, so the file have to be removed as well. So the reference to my file is actually called file also. So I have to go to this reference, then remove the value. Okay, finally I can place my focus into my first field. Okay, this one input. So these are things that we have to do. So let's continue here. So this dot $ ref. Okay, my file input is called file. Okay, I want to remove its value, set it to empty string will do. So the selection will be gone. Then after that, the reference, okay, inputs. Okay, this one I want to receive the focus. Okay, let's try it one time. So I come to here, I enter some value. Okay, don't care whether it's valid or not. Just select some value and hit reset. Okay, so error is clear. File is actually being cleared off also. So this one back the focus back to ID. Now we can continue to do the submit. Submit is going to be rather simple. Okay, so I'm going to provide the. Usually we can write submit code like this, right? So we said that, okay, well, student, okay, the ID is actually doc this dot ID. Okay, after that we call the set. Okay, for the set, we can set up all the data value field one by one, right? So we got ID is outside, but name can be taken from here. This dot name, okay, gender, this dot gender is here. Okay, the group, and finally the photo. Photo, we will send it. Okay, I will preview directly because the one is being resized already. This is a group and also photo. So this dot photo. Okay, so we can put a tailing comma here. It's fine. It's not going to affect anything. Okay, finally you're going to do this this dot router. Okay, we want to back to the home screen. Push. Okay, the home is called home as well. Okay, but we know that this one we can do insertion. Okay, maybe I try one later. I can try a different method for it. So let me try one first. I come to here. So go back to my web browser. I can insert new record. I put it A001 so that it's appear on top. I call it A. Choose female. Select group 1. I choose a photo IU1 for examples. So let me do insert. So my first record is going to have the pictures. So this time the photo is actually stored as a data URL. So if let's say I go to my Firestore database, okay, it's not being shown yet, right? So let me do a refresh. Okay, I should see my new student collection A01. Okay, this is the photo string lah. Okay, the string is a data URL. is the data URL, which is it's actually longer than what we did just now. Just now is actually just pointing to a local image, but this time this one is actually a data URL. The actual photo data is here. It's very long, okay, but it's fine. So let's come back to screen here. I'm going to do a different way, okay, of doing an insert. So I'm going to come here and modify the logic here a bit lah. Okay, let's try a different syntax for this. On top here, I create a constant, okay, but this is going to do object destructuring. Okay, we got ID constant, we got the rest of data go inside data. So this is assigned with this dot dollar sign data. Okay, the keywords, this dot dollar sign data is actually pointing to these data properties. So all of it. So ID, I take it separately as ID constant, whereas name, gender, group, and also photo, I will put them. Okay, put all the rest inside the data constant. So I can actually shorten. Later, I can shorten my field to be like this. And this one is going to be ID. Okay, whereas for set, okay, inside is going to be an object, right? So the object will be called data. So I settle the things. Okay, let's try whether this one is doing the same behavior or not. So let me go back to my app over here. Okay, now I got A already. Okay, let me create a new one. Again, call it A002. Okay, this one again call it B. So I can select female again, group 1, choose a different photo, IU2, for example, let me do insert. Yes, I still got the record being coming. Okay, let's go to the data store and look at the data. So this is the data. Okay, same, I got gender, group, name, photo. Okay, as the data field. Okay, whereas the ID is A002. Okay, so take note that this one is actually one of the syntax. Okay, this dot dollar sign data will return you all the data properties. So ID, we take it separately, whereas for the rest, we group them as the data object. Okay, right now, we can move on to do the update already. The first step definitely is to display the data. So the data is actually not being shown yet. So you want to display all the data. So let's move on to our coding section. So close insert. Okay, we go to this underscore update. Okay, let's drag down. Okay, we will focus on to do 23 first. We're going to create a new properties to store the original photo. You look at this, what we store inside database. ID, name, gender, group, and also photo, correct. But we also need to have additional properties that let us store the original photo. So later when we do reset, we can look back the original photo preview. So let's provide it first. Okay, later we're going to talk more about this one. So now we got it ready. So let's go down. So whenever the route is being changed, we're going to do an immediate evaluation. We call the root function so that I can root the data. So similar to how we did in the previous lesson. So let us in to do 24 root function, let's load the student based on the URL. Okay, the ID parameter. So let's do it ID equal to this dot route. Okay, route.params. Okay, ID. So I'm getting the URL ID, this portion A001 for my case here. So once I got it ready, okay, I would like to search for the relevant student object S equal to this dot root. Okay, root the student array, try to find an student record with the matching ID. Okay, we may get nothing. Okay, so we say if let's say no S, or I cannot find a student, that means got problem. So it's not written. Okay, I will return, but before I do that, we're going to do navigation. So we're going to say that this dot router dot push go back, throw the user back to home. Okay, after that we return a function immediately so that the foreign code is not going to execute. So if let's say we're able to hit up to here, we can fill out all this value. Okay, including the temp as well. Okay, for all the student data. So s dot this dot id equal to s dot id. Okay, this dot name equal to s dot name. Okay, followed by this dot gender equal to s dot gender. Okay, this dot group equal to s dot group. Okay, everything's so this dot photo equal to s dot photo. This one correct, but because I also want to store a reference, store a temporary reference to my photo so that I can do restoration later, I also store inside my temp variable. Okay, so right now I should be able to see my record being shown on the screen. Okay, so let me click on this one, update. Okay, I got A01, the name, the gender, okay, the group, okay, but photo definitely not, you got nothing yet. The reason because the field is actually not yet bind to our data. It's still like this. Okay, for this part we can do a copy and paste, okay, and modification. Okay, let's go back to insert. So for this insert page, we try to locate the photo section together with preview. Okay, this 1 2 3 4 5 6 line copy. Okay, let's come back to here. Okay, and we replace it. Now, but definitely we have to make modification. So whenever we do update, we don't want to make it required. The reason because the user may choose they don't want to replace a photo. Okay, they want to use back the old photo. That's why they want to retain with it. So the field is not required. If we back to the page right now, I think we should be able to see the preview lah. It's actually provided, but definitely we got other part we have to settle. So let's go down. 25 settle already. Okay, let's go down to look for 26. Okay, for the change event, we have to handle the image change event. Same thing, we can go back to this insert HTML page. We go down, okay, and try to copy this bit for code. Okay, later let us examine whether we need to make modification or not. Okay, just paste it over here. So let me replace empty line. Okay, let's check through this. Target same. Okay, the custom validation, remove it. So if let's say no file being selected, okay, instead of setting it to empty, no. Okay, we're going to set it back to the temp. Okay, that's the reason why we make use of the temp variable on top here. Okay, for this one, the temp here, okay, the temp that we use for loading, this one is to store the current photo. Just in case the user want to cancel the uploading, okay, after they select they want to cancel it, okay, it will still refer back to the original pictures lah, the temp one. So here we make modification. Same thing, here we also make modification. Okay, well, so then I think we can do a testing. Okay, like, okay, let's come to here. So again, to click this one. Okay, I click update. Okay, right now, if I say I don't do anything, I hit on update, there will be no error, no effect, no errors. But I choose a file. Okay, I choose another IU2, for example. I hit update. Okay, so nothing happened, right? I select, I click cancel. Okay, it will go back to the previous one. Okay, because of errors, I didn't choose any files. You go back to the previous one. If I say I try to choose an image file, okay, we'll go back to the default also. But this time you could tell me invalid photo. So the temp is actually the current default photo of the image. So right now let's continue lah. So again, to do 27 to reset the data as well as to submit it. Okay, for the resetting, this time will be different a bit. Okay, we're going to say this.root. Okay, root everything again. That means we can run this function again. Root everything again. Okay, not only that, I also need to clear the file selection, just like previous one. We have to clear the file selection, okay, by using the ref. Okay, after that we have to put the cursor. This time it's going to back to the name field. So I also call input. So these two lines have to be programmed. So let's go down to here. So clear the file selection, just in case the file has been selected. So dot value equal to empty string. Okay, after that we're going to put a focus as well. So this dot ref, okay, dot input dot focus. Okay, let's test it out. So I go to update. So let's say I make some changes, choose a different one, let's say choose a different pictures. I hit reset. So all go back to default. So it's working fine. And so the file, there will be no file being selected. So let's proceed to do the update as well. Okay, actually the code can be exactly same as the insert. Okay, because we can use set to do replacement. So let me copy this line, but we have to make modification. Copy the line over here. Okay, paste down over here. So let me make some adjustment. We can use set to do replacement, which equivalent to update, provided we give all the fields. But take note, okay, when I run this line, okay, I will get ID. The rest of the data field will be put inside data, right? Okay, not to forget, this time our data field beside name, gender, group, photo, we also got temp. Okay, I don't want to store the temp into my database. Okay, if I say I just do like this, I don't make any changes, the temp will go inside database. Okay, I can actually take out the temp. Okay, for example, I just provide the temp to match it. So the rest have to be go in front. I cannot put in the end. So this one I can change. The temp have to place in front. Okay, cannot be at the end. So if I say I leave it to be the end, okay, it's going to got problem, right? Okay, so I'm going to put a temp here, but I will ignore it. Okay, I have the variable temp just for the purpose of ensuring my data only contain of the name, gender, group, and photo. But the temp is not included. Otherwise, the temp will be added to our file store. We don't want that to happen. Okay, so here we take the ID. Okay, the temp, we will take it but ignore it. Then the data, we do the same thing. Okay, we call set. Everything go to the file store, including the pictures. Then we're going to then we get back to the home screen. So let's try it out. So I'm going to change this one. Okay, so I'm going to change the name to make it region. Okay, so I'm going to change it to a female still stay group 4, but I choose a photo to replace it. So I'm going to choose image 5 lah, IU5. Okay, this one. Click update. So let's look at the result. So it's actually updated accordingly. Yeah? So updating is working already. Okay, so right now we will go back to the home screen. Okay, there's one extra thing we want to do. We want to actually do this sorting by using shortcut keyboard shortcut 1 2 3 4. So this is 1 2 3 4. Okay, that is an extra part. Let us go back to this code. Okay, actually we set the to do 28, then we set the everything's ready. So let me close this off. Close this off also. Okay, right now let's go back to home. One last thing to do. Okay, at the right bottom. So I do have a to-do section. Okay, listed over here. Okay, say that to do extra. Okay, this is the last thing to do. We want to provide keyboard shortcut to do sorting. We are going to do. We have altogether 4 fields. 1 2 3 4. We can assign shortcut for button 1 2 3 4. When we press different button 1 2 3 4, we can do sorting for different field. So let me come back to here. Okay, let's try it out. Again, we're going to make use of this. Let me give a space in between them. So I can to make use of this jQuery. I assign to document object. So by handling the key down event, okay, E, open and close. Okay, before I do anything in the middle, not to forget, we have to turn it off. Okay, we have to remove the event, just like how we did last time. Call the off method to remove all the event after the page actually being unnoted. So mounted and unmounted. So we do both together. So right now, let's do a testing switch. Okay, I can make use of E.key. Okay, E.key give me the actual letter being pressed down, the actual characters. So in this case, I can make use of the digit key from either the left hand side of my keyboard or right hand side of my keyboard. So I can do case. Okay, if I say is 1, take note that is always a collectors. So 1, we'll do this dot sort, but we do the first field, which is ID. Okay, after that, I can do a break. Okay, let me Control C, Control V. Okay, I have altogether 4 column, right? 1, 2, 3, and also 4. So ID followed by name, gender, and group, followed by name, okay, gender, and also group. So just a shortcut to support sorting. Oh, gender and group, right? The last one is group, this one is genders. So let me make my alignment look better. So I'm going to align it like this. Okay, or I align it, no problem. So let us try it out. Okay, so I come back to here, I press 1. Okay, I can do sorting for ID field 2. Okay, no problem. 3 can, 4 also can. So pressing keyboard will do the sorting. But not to forget to turn it off. Okay, to actually stop listening for the event once we leave the page. Otherwise, the event will be double up. Okay, well, that's it for this particular exercises. Okay, we complete it already. So in the next lesson, we're going to cover Firebase cloud storage, talking about how can we store files, okay, including images definitely, okay, into Firebase using another service called Firebase cloud storage.